All right, welcome back as we continue to give you updates on Hurricane Ida. Joining me now, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Louisiana, Mr. Billy Nungesser. Billy, good to have you on board.
Good to be with you, my friend. How you been?
I've been all right. A little tired, but you know how it works, for sure. And I was going to I said when I knew you were coming, I said, nobody better to ask on how do you put one foot in front of the other than Billy Nungesser, because remember for Katrina, I remember you having to fight for everything and scrap for everything and raise your voice a few times and get things brought in. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to wait for it, right?
Well, you got to fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it breaks my heart going down to Dulac and traveling the coast to see so much widespread devastation. And this time, a large portion from wind. Mm-hmm. And like every, New Orleans isn't flooded. So we've got to keep the pressure on for funding, for the assets to rebuild and expedite getting people back in their homes. Because we know every week, every month that goes by that people aren't coming back, we're going to lose some people. Mm-hmm. They're just going to throw their hands up. And so it's incredibly important that we all continue to fight to get the resources here to rebuild.
And that scares me the most as we're going every day and filming in locations. Yesterday we went to LaRose. It's a mud bowl in LaRose. And when people decide that they're going to leave, they're gone. They're not coming back. So the longer it takes to get a FEMA trailer, which may keep somebody here, and they had enough and they leave, we're not getting them back, are we?
Well, I had hoped that we could change the way we do that. They move people out into a hotel, then they wait months sometimes to get a FEMA trailer. Sometimes their house is ready before the trailer gets set up. How about if we give them a $50,000 voucher to go buy a camper trailer? If you want an $80,000 one, put up the extra money. Mm-hmm. You'll be back home in your driveway at night. You can start working on your home. Mm-hmm. Volunteer Louisiana, under my office, works with all the faith-based groups, all the volunteer organizations from all over the country. Mm-hmm. And we have over 8,000 cases right now. 2,000 we've closed out. First it was mutton, gutting homes. Then it was the tree removal and blue roofs. And we're feeding at volunteer facilities. And then it'll be for those people that slipped through the cracks, didn't have enough insurance or didn't have flood insurance. Mm-hmm. Those crews will go in and rebuild their homes for them. We're still working over in Lake Charles, and Volunteer Louisiana will be on the ground until everyone's back in their home. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a long recovery. That's what our mission under Volunteer Louisiana is. We're there, long-term recovery. But we've got to look at doing it better. I flew up to South Carolina to a Lieutenant Governor's Conference just for a day, if they let me speak. And I showed them the steel poles we put up in Plaquemines, showing the government how the energy that comes out of that corridor. And we got those poles built after Katrina. But asking them to write their congressmen and senators, because we're not going to be able to do it alone, that the federal government ought to be paying to harden this grid. We can't expect the energy companies to do it. If they do, we're going to pay for it in our bill. That's just the way it is. And when you talk about hardening the grid, because the storms are getting stronger, they're staying stronger longer and further inland, people will be back in their homes a lot. So in the long run, it saves us money. So we're going to need a lot of help from other states, and that's why I'm leaning on all my lieutenant governors to help us make that happen. The levees that were built, this parish did an incredible job, have held up. But we've got to show people that the ability to ride out, the ability to bounce back quickly is going to get better, not worse.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because, like I said, no better person than to, first of all, before we talk about how to do it, I've got about 2 minutes left in this segment. Compare Ida with Katrina. You're a perfect one to ask.
So the devastation is widespread. Mm-hmm. We focused on New Orleans flooding in a few areas south of New Orleans for Katrina. Mm-hmm. Here, way north shore, is got severe damage. Widespread destruction, way inland, and that storm stayed powerful for so long, it just ripped structures apart, kept beating and beating. If it didn't come ashore and weaken,
Right.
it stayed strong for 4 or 5 hours.
It was accelerating over Grand Isle.
Yep. So we got to build for that infrastructure. We've got to do better at our coastal restoration, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, we've got to do absolutely everything we can to get the debris out the way, clean up, help people get back in their homes as soon as possible. Today, I visited all the shrimp docks, and Louisiana Seafood Promotion Board is going to be working with them. I'm working on a crane and a barge to get those shrimp boats that sunk back up.
And I want to talk about that in the next segment about how this is going to affect the seafood. And we're going to talk about that in a second. We're with the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Louisiana. We'll be back.